Aranatyoti Harinam Kevalam Sadhu Sankita Chate Salatavandhavisa Shikshichet Sarasmartam Harinam Kevalam Harisarvasat Tatra Yatra Bhavata Jana Jaiti Bhakti Bhavena Harinam Kevalam Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kolam Nasteva Gatyavanyadam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuto Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavascha Sherupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raganatam Vidantam Sarivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vichatanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jaitam Surato Pangor Mama Manamate Ragadimat Sarvasabalam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divabindarana Kalpatramado Simaratnagara Senmasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Pristhalivi Sevamano Smarami Shimamrasara Saram Devam Sevatatata Skita Karshan Vinosanai Gopir Gopinata Sistonaham Tatta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishavamo Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Govinda Nandini Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasva Sarva Kanta Shiromani Devi Krishna Maya Prokta Radhika Baladevataha Sarva Lakshmi Maya Sarva Kanta Sammohini Param Bhajami Radham Maravindra Netram Smarami Radham Marudasmadasyam Vadami Radham Karunabharadram Tato Mama Nasti Nakati Tavai Vasmi Narjimamittayani Ittivigyani Devi Kam Naimam Chalantikam Ma Bhava Sarupatam Krishna Priyavariyasi Prem Bhakti Pradevi Radhikitam Namamyaham Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So for the devotees, every day is auspicious. And in Braj, every day is a festival. And Prabhupada used to say, especially in the spiritual world, Radha Krishna performed their pastimes and the loving exchange is there. In Golok Vrindavan, there are no demons and there are practically hardly any difficulties. Of course, and Krishna is the source of everything and transcendental emotions are there. So there's some happiness and some distress there, transcendental. There's some feeling of separation also when Krishna is taking out the cows and the calves to the pasturing grounds. Then Radharani and the gopis, Maria Yashoda, Nanda Baba, they will feel some separation. But then they are remembering Krishna also. And by remembering Krishna or by calling out Krishna's name, then they are able to remember Krishna, they can see Krishna, they can feel the presence of Krishna. So there's a beautiful stotra by one of the acharyas, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So Maria Yashoda the gopis, so they are calling out Krishna's name when Krishna is not present. Even sometimes Srimati Radharani, she's chanting the Maha Mantra when she's not together with Krishna. So, in this way, transcendental pleasure is always there in the spiritual world. Unlimited pleasure is there, ever increasing. So in this material world, of course, also Mahaprabhu is performing these eternal pastimes, which he did never with his associates, also chanting the holy names and experiencing so much transcendental pleasure. And Mahaprabhu is remembering Radha Krishna especially, and the wonderful loving exchange. And they are discussing amongst each other about Krishna and Krishna's associates and their wonderful pastimes. So this material world, which is sometimes manifest by the will of the Lord, then the Bada Jivas, the conditioned souls, they come in this world. And they have an opportunity by the mercy of the Lord and His associates to come to know about their position as eternal sons of Krishna. And they can make advancement in spiritual life. And especially Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he has come to establish the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names. And he has come to show how to engage in devotional service. And he has empowered his associates to write transcendental literatures that will be discussed later on also in the Madhya Lila in regards to speaking to Rup Goswami, Sanat Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, giving transcendental knowledge and then telling his associates to go to Braj and excavate the lost holy places of Braj and write transcendental literatures for the benefit of the four conditioned souls. So when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in Braj, he performed these wonderful pastimes in this world. But then he went to Mathura and Dwarka, and then all the Brijvasis, they were feeling separation from Krishna. And then after Krishna disappeared from this planet and his associates also, so some deities were installed by Krishna's great-grandson Brajanath, like Govinda Dev, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Haridev, and so on. And so they were made with stone deities, very, very granite, very strong, and they are still up to these days. You can see the deity of Govinda Dev in Jaipur, very beautiful deity. So you're from Jaipur, right? Beautiful. I stayed also in Jaipur, 1982, for 1 year. And later on also, I've been many times to Jaipur, very famous deity of Govinda Dev, 5,000 years old. Krishna's great grandson, Rajanath, he installed beautiful deities. And actually, Parikshit's mother, Uttara, so she was also at that time present in Braj with some of the Dvarkavasis who were left and Brajanavan, because she had seen Krishna, so she was guiding the persons making the deities, sculpting the deities. And so, but then after that, it is known that, it is well known that the deities, they were, of course, worshipped for some time, but then after some times, the seva was also neglected, or the Muslims were coming, and then they were hiding the deities so that they wouldn't break the deities. And slowly but surely the important places of Braj, they were lost. As Krishna is also saying, that is a disciplic succession, Guru Parampara. But after sometimes the knowledge gets lost also. Similarly, the holy places, they become covered, not completely, because Braj is ever permanent in the spiritual world and in this world also. And the knowledge is ever existing. Veda, or the transcendental knowledge, is eternal. But it becomes lost to the common man due to the influence of time, due to the molds of material nature, especially passion and ignorance. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared and he came to Braj and he stayed a few months in Braj, and then he himself, he also manifested, or he discovered Radhakund and Shyamkund at Govardhan as he was doing parikrama of Braj. He saw two ponds of water and he asked the villagers there, the farmers, so what is the name of these two kundas? And they said Goriket and Kaliket. And they said, oh, okay. Of course, he's the all-knowing Supreme Lord, no different from Krishna. So he took bath and then he proclaimed. So that these two ponds are actually Radhakund and Shyamkund. And then later on, Raghunath Das Goswami made beautiful, excavated and made it more big and beautiful. And now we can go there and take bath at Radhakund and Shyamkund and many other lost holy places were manifested, were discovered by the associates of Mahaprabhu for our benefit. And now we can go in Braj and see so many holy places where Krishna performed these pastimes. So every day we can observe a festival by remembering the wonderful pastimes of Krishna in the spiritual world or in this world, or by remembering Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So in Braj also, after Vaishak Mass, and 2 days after, on this day today, on Dvitiya Tithi, there's all the deities are nicely decorated, and they're brought out of the altar, and they have in many places a water fountain, because it is very hot, and so then, because of the water fountain, then it becomes a little cool, and they offer fruits to the deities and they will distribute. That is known as Van Bihar Parikrama in Braj. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave this knowledge in regards to Braj, in regards to Braj Bhakti. So yesterday we were discussing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visiting the holy places of South India and going to a place called Rajamundri in Vishakhapatnam next to Godavari River, holy river. As it is explained also in the scriptures, Gange Chai Yamuna Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Karveli Jalisim Sanidim Kurum. So these are the holy rivers famous in Bharatvarsha. Foremost, of course, are Ganga and Yamuna river, but then Godavari, Kaveri. So these are also holy rivers. When the Lord performed his pastimes. So there he met, being requested by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Puri, he met Rai Ramananda. And then, so they were having a wonderful dialogue known as Rai Ramananda Samvad. So Mahaprabhu asking questions, although he knows everything, but taking the humble position and inquiring from Rai Ramananda and inspiring him to speak what he had also heard and read in the scriptures. And so specifically he was asking about devotional service. And we can see throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrit, so this divine knowledge is given, but specifically Mahaprabhu, he came to give Braj Bhakti. He came to give the knowledge and he came to show how the Brijvasis, they have the most wonderful love for Krishna. And so in this conversation also, and different forms of devotional service are described or explained. And we know that in India there are many devotees of Vishnu, Ram, and many incarnations of the Lord, and they have bhakti, they have love, prem also for the Supreme Lord. But basically there are two forms of love of Godhead. One is Aishwarya Yukt, that is with the own reverence that Vishnu, Ram, Narayan is the Supreme Lord and we are the servants. So there's a loving exchange, but it is not so intimate. Whereas in Braj, the loving exchange is very intimate because the Brijavasis, the associates of Krishna and Braj, they do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. They think he's our friend, he's our son, he's our beloved. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ultimately he's showing that this prema bhakti in Braj that is most exalted. So that is the conversation here between Rai Ramananda. As the example was given also, and Rai Ramananda also explained himself that you caused me, he told Mahaprabhu also, you caused me to speak what I have spoken. And you're just like the ocean, and from the ocean the water is coming, and then the cloud is formed and then rain is coming. So Rai Ramananda is compared to be just like a cloud, and he's giving this knowledge, but the knowledge is actually coming from the ocean, and Mahaprabhu is compared to the ocean. So in the beginning of this conversation, Rai Ramananda is explaining about, as also Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is explaining Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and so on. So similarly, Rai Ramananda was knowledgeable. He was explaining about these different forms of devotional service, also Vana Ashram, and so on. And Mahaprabhu is appreciating, but then is explaining, this is external. So will you please say something more? Only when Rai Ramananda spoke about the devotional service of those who have a closer relationship with Krishna, like the Brijavasis, and some extent also those in Dwarka, they also have an intimate relationship with Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu was satisfied. But then he was telling also, please you tell something more. Because first he was explaining about the servants of Krishna in Mathura and even in Dwarka. So they have pure love for Krishna. And there's a wonderful exchange. But Mahaprabhu, he wanted to hear more. So he told him, that is fine, so you speak more. And then after, so after explaining about Dasya Bhav, the loving sentiments of the servants of Krishna, then Mahaprabhu is saying, very fine, yeah, but please you say something more. And then Rai Ramananda is saying, Sar kya prem, sarva sadhya sar. He's saying that the essence of all performers of devotional service, that is the loving relationship between Krishna and his devotees, like the Gopas, the friends of Krishna in Braj. And Rai Ramananda, he quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 10th canto, famous verse in glorification of the Gopas. Idam sat tan brahma sukkana bhutya, famous verse, dasyam utham paridevatena. Krita punya punja. So he's explaining that those who are engaged in self-realization, appreciating the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, and those engaged in devotional service, accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Master, as well as those who are under the clutches of Maya, thinking the Lord an ordinary person, cannot understand that certain exalted personalities, after accumulating volumes of pious activities, are now playing with the Lord in friendship as cowherd boys. So there are some persons who are highly advanced, that is indicated here in this verse by Shukadeva Goswami, that Satam Brahma Sukhanabhutya. So those who are attracted to the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, the impersonalists, so they will feel some happiness, they're realizing some happiness. But then, even Sukadeva Goswami, it is mentioned that he was first attracted to the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth in the past time. But then he came to the position of understanding the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then in servitude, he is able to appreciate the Supreme Lord and render some service. But then he's explaining also that the impersonalists, or those who are in Dasya Bhav, in servitorship, and what to speak of persons of this material world, they can hardly understand the exalted position of the friends of Krishna. So these are the Gopas. So it is mentioned here, Vijamuhu, Krita Punya Punja. It is mentioned that after accumulating volumes of pious activities, so they are able to play with the Supreme Lord. So here it appears to be that the cowboys or the Gopas of Krishna, they have assumed this position, they have gotten this position by performing pious activities. So this is an indication that when Krishna appears in this world, then the eternal associates of Krishna are here with Krishna, and then those who have been in this material world practicing devotional service, after having them performed, as mentioned here, accumulated pious activities for many lifetimes, then they can also come to that position. So in other words, when we engage in devotional service, we're chanting the holy names, we're hearing about Krishna, we worship the deities, we do various services. So that is a spiritual pious activity by which we can ultimately attain perfection. So after continuously engaging devotional service, or maybe it may take more than one lifetime, then we may come to the position of being able to play with Krishna like the cowboys. So this verse is indicating that the eternal associates are there and they are ever liberated. Like Krishna's friends, Madhumangal, Sudam, Sridham, Arjun, Stoka Krishna. This is Krishna's friends since time immemorial, playing with Krishna in the spiritual world. But then also when Krishna is appearing here, they're playing with Krishna. And those sadhakas, like we are performing devotional service, when we become perfect, we will realize our relationship with Krishna. It may be as a friend, it may be in parental affection, or a servant or beloved of Krishna. So after realizing our relationship with Krishna, then after giving up this body, we can take birth where Krishna performs his pastimes, and then we can enter the pastimes of Krishna. So that is indicated in this verse. So here specifically the Gopas, the friends of Krishna, are glorified. And then Mahaprabhu is saying, E uttam age kaha aao. So he's saying, oh, this is first class, Uttam, first class, it is very good. So he was very satisfied because the relationship with the friends of Krishna is very intimate. Whereas the servants are there, there's some own reverence in Braj also. Little own reverence is there. Krishna is our master. So the exchange is there, loving exchange, but there's some Maryada also there, even in the spiritual world, in Golok. When Nanda Baba, Yashoda are there, in Nanda Bhavan, so Krishna is there with his friends and the servants are there and they also have a loving relationship with Krishna. But they want to embrace Krishna and Krishna is ready to embrace them also in loving relationship. When the parents are there, it is not possible because Krishna is the son of the king of Braj and the servants are simply servants. So it would not be possible. Just like a rich person, like also Bhupna family, they have many servants there. And there's a loving relationship also, even with the servants. It is normal. At the same time, there's some maryada there, there's some etiquette to be followed. And so the mother is embracing the child, or the grandmother is embracing the child, Vandya. But the servants, even though the love may be there, but they will not embrace. It is not possible. Even Vandya, even if there's a small girl here or another girl will be there serving in the house, so they will not embrace because the servants are the servants. Similarly also in Golok, the servants are the servants. And in front of Maria Yashoda and Nanda Baba, Krishna will not have such a close relationship. But if the parents are not there, then Krishna may embrace even the servants, as he's embracing the cows and the calves. So wonderful, loving exchanges there. So here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, actually by hearing or by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, one can fully understand the Srimad Bhagavatam also, and especially the 10th canto, which is about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes with his associates. In Braj, in Mathura and Dwarka, but most important are Krishna's pastimes in Braj, and the most glorified. The 10th canto is the essence of the Bhagavatam, and then the first part is more important, and especially the loving exchange with the gopis, and like the Ras Lila, Rasa Panchadhyay, that is the essence of the 10th canto, and the Geet, Venu Geet, Gopi Geet, Yugal Geet, Pranay Geet, Uddhav Geet. So that is also basically all in regards to the gopis and the love of the gopis in loving exchange with Krishna. So these are foremost exchanges, and so by reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so we can understand what is the essence of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy of Mahaprabhu's teachings. That is Braj Bhakti and especially the love of the gopis in regards to Krishna. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita is the essence of the transcendental scriptures, which are manifest by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And then by studying the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can properly understand the Bhagavatam and the 10th canto. So Mahaprabhu is saying, so your statement is very good, but please you proceed even further. And then Rai Kahe Vatsalya Prem Sarva Sadhya Sa. So he's explaining that even more exalted is the parental relationship of Maria Yashoda, Nanda Baba and the elderly gopis of Braj. Also quoting again from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Nanda kim makkar brahman, Shevam mahadoyam, Yashoda Mahabhagha. What is it here? Paupo Yasta Stanam Hari. So Ramananda Roy is quoting that verse. What pious activities did Nanda Maharaj perform by which he received the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna as his son? And what pious activities did Mother Yashoda perform that made this absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, call her mother and suck her breast? And so here also it is mentioned what pious activities did they perform to come to that position. But we know that Maria Yashoda and Nanda Baba, they are eternally the parents of Krishna. So they did not have to perform any pious activities. But others who by nature have this relationship with Krishna, parental affection, being in this world as conditioned soul, but coming in contact with the Lord and His Lord devotee, the Lord's devotees, then they can realize the relationship after having performed pious activities, pious spiritual activities. So they become qualified. Even there's a mentioning in the Bhagavatam of Drona and Dara. They wanted the Supreme Lord as their son. And so it is mentioned that they had the good fortune to obtain the Lord as their son, and it is mentioned that they became Yashoda and Nanda Baba. But here also the acharyas have explained, and we can understand that Dronadhara are actually expanded forms of Maria Yashoda and Nanda Baba for the purpose of the Lord's pastimes in this world. But Maria Yashoda and Nanda Baba are eternally the parents of Krishna. So that we should understand. He quotes another verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. The favor Mother Yashoda obtained from Sri Krishna, the bestower of liberation, was never obtained even by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, nor even by the goddess of fortune, who always remains on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. So the position of Maria Yashoda, and especially Maria Yashoda, is mentioned here. So because even it is mentioned Nanda Baba and Yashoda, they have this Vatsalya Bhav, but of the two, Maria Yashoda is considered to be more fortunate and more exalted even in regards to her loving sentiments towards Krishna. So the great demigods like Lord Brahma, Shiva, or even Lakshmi Devi, so is on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. So she was not able to also obtain this good fortune to have such a loving relationship with Krishna. It is mentioned also in the Bhagavatam that she came to Braj, the goddess of fortune, in order to be able to have the association of Krishna, and the pastime places there where she performed austerities. In Belvan, across Vrindavan, and there's a temple there also of Lakshmi Devi. And so it is mentioned that she was trying to obtain the favor of having the association of Krishna. But then it is mentioned because she could not give up her Bhav as the beloved of Vishnu, and she was not taking the shelter of the gopis of Krishna or even the other Brijbasis, Maria Shoda and Braj, so therefore she was not able to have complete exchange with Krishna. Of course, indirectly, Krishna is reciprocating with anyone who is approaching him, also Lakshmi Devi. Therefore, it is mentioned that also he granted her a place on his chest in the form of the emblem of Lakshmi Devi on his chest. So that has been explained. But she's not able to have this loving exchange like the gopis have, or Maria Shoda. So Mahaprabhu, hearing about the Vatsalya Prem, the loving sentiments of the parents or those in parental affection, he was very satisfied and he said, so, hey Uttam, this is very good, this is first class. But then again he told him that please you say something more. Age kaha, and then Rai kahe, Rai Ramananda is saying, Kanta prem sarva sadhyasar. So Ramananda is replying that the conjugal attachment for Krishna is the topmost position of love of Godhead. And there again he's also quoting from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you have the CC also? Do you have do you have this? In Hindi only. Because here it is very small, I can hardly read. I can read the English, but
I'll bring which chapter?
It is the 8th chapter of Madhya Lila. So, of course, we say in English, but it is always nice to quote the Sanskrit also, which is there. Very beautiful verses are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, quoted by here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So the translation is follows. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually that verse was spoken by Uddhav. So Uddhav, he had come to Braj, actually as he was sent by Krishna to Braj. So he could, of course, for different reasons, first of all, just to let him understand that who are the greatest devotees of Krishna, the greatest devotees, those who have the most love for him. So Uddhav is actually very dear to Krishna and is also known as Haridasya Varya, the best of the devotees of Hari, of Krishna. So there is a relationship is there, cousin brother, and then also they were best friends, and Uddhav was actually the prime minister of Krishna in Dwarka. So, but in Mathura, when Krishna was in Mathura, Uddhav had also come, and so then Krishna sent him to Braj with a message to the gopis who are his most beloved. And actually to show also that the gopis are the greatest of the devotees of Krishna. And also Krishna was wanting to have some solace because he is also feeling separation, transcendental separation. So he wanted to send Uddhav so he could see the loving sentiments of the Brijbasis. And when he arrived, so he saw the love of Nanda Baba and Yashoda, and he wanted to console them. And he was then telling also to Nanda Baba that you're very fortunate. The Supreme Lord stayed with you for many, many years. But then Nanda Baba, of course, was replying, you're just a foolish child. What are you talking? Slok number?
This is 99.
99? No, here, what is it? 80. 80. So he was telling him that, what are you talking? You're just like a child, not knowing what you're saying. So even if you say that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, so I was very fortunate to have his association. So it is just like if somebody is getting a valuable jewel, but then if he loses the jewel, so what is his good fortune? So Nanda Baba was feeling so much separation from Krishna and Maria Shoda, and they were crying and crying. Although he was most intelligent, Uddhav, but he was not able to pacify Nanda Baba and Maria Shoda, and so he recognized that the love of Nanda Baba and Yashoda is much superior than my love. And then so he was humbled. Of course, the devotee is always humble, the pure devotee, but then there's some transcendental pride also there. I'm fortunate to be Krishna's devotee. And that is all right, to have a little transcendental pride, to be recognized as a devotee of the Lord. And then he met the gopis, and so then he was seeing that they are actually most exalted of the Lord's associates. So the message was there for the gopis, so the letter was there for the gopis, and he was supposed to give the letter to the gopis. But then, being very intelligent, he was thinking that if I give the letter, the gopis, they will be crying because they have so much separation. And when they're crying, so what would happen if they're crying? Then the tears would come on the letter. And then if water comes on the letter, we know, then because it was written, handwritten, so it would have been all dissolved. So if tears are coming on the paper, it will become completely wet and it will be actually dissolved, the paper. So therefore he thought, no, I cannot do that. Even if they can control themselves to some extent and tears are not coming, but then feeling separation, then the burning separation, the feelings of separation which are very hot, and then the hands will be so hot that also the paper would actually just burn. Just if you have an iron rod, if an iron rod which was there in the fire, it becomes just like fire. And then if you touch something to the fire, to the rod, it will just be burnt. So therefore he thought, no, I cannot give the letter, but let me read the letter. So then he was reading the letter which he had written to the gopis. And so he could understand their most wonderful emotions. So let me see here. Text 18. Nayam Shrianga Unatantarate Prasada Swayoshitam Nalina Ganda Rucham Kutonya Rasotsavesya Puja Danda Grihita Kantalam Tashisham Ya Udgada Braja Sundarinam. So that is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 47th chapter. So Krishna is glorifying, Uddhava is glorifying Krishna, of course, and the gopis, but specifically referring to the gopis. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, never was such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the lotus flower. And what to speak of worldly women who are very beautiful according to the material estimation. So the gopis are most exalted and most beautiful. And so they were embraced by Krishna. And uh, actually in our sampradaya, we see that most of our acharyas, they are gopis. And so therefore Mahaprabhu also mentioned that, or that the most exalted form is the love of the gopis. And so by this conversation here, so Rai Ramananda established the same position of the gopis as most exalted. And also the acharyas have explained, like in beginning of Charitamrita, Anarpita charim chirakaina vatana kalo samarpitama unad ujjala rosam samatti shriyam. So Mahaprabhu has appeared after a long time. That means Krishna is appearing once in the day of Lord Brahma. Similarly, Mahaprabhu is appearing after Krishna once in the day of Lord Brahma. So after a long time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. And so he has given this Unadujjala Ras, the most wonderful. Unat means the highest. Ujjval, bright, shining, mellow of the transcendental relationship with Krishna. That is the conjugal relationship, the Gopi Bhav. So the gopis are most exalted and of course they are most beautiful. And so here it is explained, the damsels in the higher planets, the devis, demigoddesses are beautiful, but there's no comparison. And what to speak of the women of this world? And then he's quoting another verse also from the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually from the after the Gopi Gate and the 10th canto, 32nd chapter. Tasam Mavira Buchairi Smayamana Mukambuja Pitambara Dhara Shagre Shakshat Manamat Manamata. So famous verse also explaining that the gopis, so they were feeling separation from Krishna, and that is expressed in the Gopi Gate. And so when the devotees are calling out to Krishna, Krishna will appear. So the gopis were searching for Krishna, calling out, desiring to see Krishna. So then suddenly it is explained, uh, Krishna appeared amongst the gopis. And specifically also it is mentioned that he was dressed in yellow garments. Pitambar Vesh, Krishna is famous for wearing a yellow dress and also a flower garland, Vajanti Mala. So Krishna is famous for wearing a yellow dress, beautiful flower garland made of 5 kinds of flowers, and he's holding the fruit and wearing a peacock feather. And so his lotus face was smiling, and he was directly attracting the mind of Cupid. So Krishna is most beautiful, most attractive, and everyone is becoming bewildered by seeing Krishna's beauty. So in this way, then the gopis were satisfied when Krishna appeared. And then, of course, there's a wonderful loving exchange. And then, of course, Ramananda Roy is also quoting some other verses and explaining about the relationship of Krishna with the gopis, and explaining that it is mentioned in scriptures, and by the learned scholars, they have explained that the relationship between Krishna and gopis, that is the most wonderful relationship, most exalted relationship. So from a neutral position, it is explained. So all the devotees of Krishna are wonderful, and they are to be glorified. And of course, from one point of view, we do not like to make some distinction between this one is greater than this devotee, that devotee is greater than this devotee. All the devotees are great, but at the same time, so the acharyas have also explained that the most exalted of all the devotees of the Lord, who are all wonderful and exalted, but most exalted are the gopis. And even like Rupa Goswami is explained in Nectar of Devotion, and he has given and he has shown like all the different symptoms which are there of the devotees, the loving sentiments, and he has shown by example also that the gopis are most exalted. And it is mentioned also that actually all the qualities of the previous rasas which are there, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, are included in Madhurya Ras. And so the gopis are also feeling and they're expressing, even Radharani, to Krishna, I'm your dasi, I'm your servant. So they have this mood also, they want to serve Krishna. And also the expression is there that Krishna is our friend. So the friendship is there also with Krishna. And even parental affection, some sentiments are there sometimes. They want to take care of Krishna, just like Mother Yashoda or Nanda Baba. Some parental affection is there in gopis also, that will sometimes also manifest to some extent. But the most prominent, and that is known as Thai Bhav, the permanent ecstasy, that is the conjugal relationship, that Krishna is my beloved. So Rupa Goswami has proven, I'm quoting from the scriptures also, that the Madhurya Bhav, the Gopi Bhav, that is most exalted. And that is giving Krishna the most pleasure. Krishna is Aptaram, self-satisfied. At the same time, in the loving exchange, he will feel satisfaction also. And there's a reciprocation, giving pleasure to his devotees. And Krishna is always beautiful and feeling transcendental pleasure, but in the exchange with his devotees, he feels more pleasure. His pleasure is increasing, his beauty is increasing. And it is explained because of the love of the gopis who are most beautiful, and their love is most exalted. So therefore, when Krishna is with the gopis, at that time Krishna is also feeling the most pleasure and is becoming most beautiful when he is with the gopis. So Krishnadas Kaviraj or Rai Ramanand is explaining also that whatever relationship one has with Krishna, so the devotee will feel perfect and complete, like the friends of Krishna. They're fully satisfied in their relationship and they feel that this most wonderful relationship to be a friend of Krishna. So that is natural. But if you compare, then we can see that the love of the gopis is most exalted. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is even giving also, just so that everyone may understand, is giving even the comparison of the material elements, sky, air, fire, water and earth. And so ultimately, so in the earth everything is included. So similarly in the conjugal mellow, all the other mellows are also there. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and is quoting many verses in regards to the loving exchange of Krishna and the gopis. Also quoting from the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is actually when Krishna met the gopis at Kurukshetra. So there was also loving exchange there and conversation was there with the gopis. And so after a long time they were meeting each other, Krishna and the gopis. Of course, these pastimes are very deep of Krishna and the gopis. So and as explained before also, Krishna is always in Braj. And the gopis and Radharani, they're also always in Braj. They never take a step out of Braj. But then Vasudev Krishna becomes manifest and is in Mathura and Dwarka and even at Kurukshetra. And an expanded form of Srimati Radharani gopis are there in Kurukshetra. So Krishna told the gopis there, so because the gopis, so like Krishna, Vasudev Krishna is an expanded form of Yashodananda Krishna. So Vasudev Krishna, he knows about Yashodananda Krishna. So similarly, the expanded forms of the gopis, they also know about the original form. So Radharani in Kurukshetra, she is known as Samyogini. Some yogi is there meeting with Krishna. And before that, when Krishna left Braj, is in Viyog, and Radharani also, they are in separation. So Viyogini Radha is there crying for Krishna. That is only in this material world. Crying and crying and crying. But then when they meet in Kurukshetra, that is Samyogini Radha. So expanded form of Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimati Radharani. So these are very sometimes deep and esoteric descriptions there, and sometimes not so easy to understand. But then Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is explaining also to the readers that even if one is not able to completely understand what I'm writing here, what I'm mentioning here, so the readers should simply continue reading even if they don't understand completely. But by continuously reading and taking shelter of Mahaprabhu and performing devotional service, then eventually one will be able to understand the subject matter, what is mentioned here. So Krishna is telling the gopis, the means of attaining my favor is loving service unto me. Unfortunately, you are all thus engaged. Those living beings who render service unto me are eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world and attain eternal life with knowledge and bliss. So also when Krishna performs his pastimes, of course here, and that is to attract the conditioned souls, and specifically also is to give transcendental knowledge. Like here he's speaking to the gopis, at the same time it is meant also for the practicing devotee, so they may understand. Unlike the gopis, they wanted Krishna to come back to Braj. And there were also famous verses there of Srimati Radharani, and then she's praying and saying to Krishna, oh, I long for the day, I would like to see you again in Braj. Now we're here in the form of a king, a royal dress, but I want to see you in Braj, at the bank of the Jamuna, under the Kalpa Vriksha trees. And I want to see you in Gopavesh, holding the flute. And I want to be able to have a wonderful loving exchange with you, which was there in Braj. But here in Kurukshetra it was not possible. Krishna was there as the king of Dwarka in a royal dress, and so the exchange was not possible, the loving exchange like in Braj. So then Krishna is explaining to the gopis also and Radharani that even if one is sometimes separated, if we are separated, but if one is engaged in devotional service, then one will be actually feeling transcendental pleasure, and by performing devotional service, one will ultimately be able to again be together with me. So that is for the devotees who have some attraction for Krishna, some understanding, but they are not fully able to be in the loving exchange with Krishna due to still being in conditioned position. But by constantly engaging devotional activities, and then ultimately one will be transferred to where Krishna performs his pastimes, and then one can enter into his pastimes, and then one will feel transcendental bliss. And also the pastimes here actually, the acharyas have explained, so that the pastime of the Ratha Yatra of Jagannath, so that is also Dwarkadish actually, Jagannath. And specifically the Ratha Yatra is there. That refers to the gopis also, that is the same mood. So, of bringing Krishna to Braj. So, Nilachal where Jagannath is there, the main temple, that refers to Dwarka, or even here as Kurukshetra. And the gopis are there, and so during Rath Yatra, the devotees are pulling Krishna, Jagannath, from the Jagannath temple to the Gundicha, which refers to Vrindavan. So these pastimes of Krishna and Mahaprabhu, so they're all interrelated also, and very wonderful and very deep and mysterious, mystical. But by hearing, by reading, and especially by hearing from those who are more advanced, then slowly but surely one can understand. And Krishna within the heart, he will reveal also everything. So it becomes more and more clear. And so then many verses are quoted also here from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam to show how Krishna is reciprocating. From the Bhagavad Gita, ye yatamam prabhadyante tam stathaimi bhajamyaham mama vatma ravattate manusya partha sarvasaha. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, all of them, as they surrender to me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So if we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will reciprocate. And the more we surrender, the more Krishna will reciprocate. Actually, Krishna is more eager to bring us to the spiritual realm than we are eager to go to Krishna. Because in conditioned state, the modes of material nature are there. And due to that, one is not able to fully surrender. In the beginning, full surrender is not possible. So, but we are trying. We have to try. And then by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and the devotees, the spiritual master, then one becomes purified in consciousness and one becomes more and more free from the modes of material nature. And then one can fully surrender to Krishna. Then one can have full faith, and then the ripe humility will be there. So also here one verse is quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam after the Ras Leela. When the gopis were overwhelmed with dissatisfaction due to Lord Krishna's absence from the Rasa Leela, Krishna returned to them and told them, my dear gopis, our meeting is certainly free from all material contamination. I must admit that in many lives it will be impossible for me to repay my debt to you because you have cut off the bondage of family life just to search for me. Consequently, I am unable to repay you. Therefore, please be satisfied with your honest activities in this regard. So that is also a famous verse, Napareyaham, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the gopis are most exalted and Krishna is saying that I cannot fully reciprocate with your love. And we can see practically also that Krishna has to reciprocate with so many devotees in Braj also. And even sadhakas are crying out to Krishna, please help me, please reciprocate with me. But the gopis, although they may have family members, but they are not really taking so much care of them, they are just concerned with Krishna. They are fully absorbed in trying to satisfy Krishna. So therefore, Krishna is not, is expressing, of course Krishna is perfect and complete, but still is expressing, I cannot completely repay my debt to you because you have giving up everything and you surrender to me completely. Even we can see Krishna in the morning when he's taking his breakfast, so he has to reciprocate with Srimati Radharani, who's cooking for him, and Madhya Yashoda is there, feeding Krishna and making sure that he's eating enough. And then, so he wants to fully reciprocate with Radharani, but he cannot because Madhya Yashoda is there and Nanda Baba. And then the Gopas are coming, they're calling also to Krishna, 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 please come, now this time to take the cows and the calves to the pasturing grounds. And then Krishna, of course, he wants to reciprocate with them also. He said, yes, yes, I'm coming. But then Madhya Yashoda is stopping Krishna and telling him, no, no, you cannot go now. You didn't eat enough. You have to eat more. You'll be out whole day. So you have to eat enough. So then Krishna cannot immediately leave and he has to eat a little more. And Radharani is anxious also that Krishna will eat more, and especially what she has made. But the cowboys are calling, the Gopas are calling, Krishna, come, come, it is late. So Krishna is there, trying to reciprocate with everyone. Of course, he's doing also, but in the loving pastime, it seems to be difficult sometimes. But then Krishna is also telling his mother, I'm too full now, I have to go now, and he just goes. And the Mother Yashoda, immediately she feels separation when Krishna is going. And Radharani also and the gopis. And therefore when Krishna is taking out the cows and the calves, she is following Krishna out of the house till the gate, the main gate of the place there in Nandagaon. And even as Krishna is walking with the cows and the calves, she is looking after him till she cannot see him. So Krishna is reciprocating with everyone as much as possible. But here he's expressing to the gopis, your love is most perfect and complete and deep, and I cannot fully reciprocate. So here, Krishnadas Kaviraj is explaining at the same point that although Krishna's beauty is unparalleled and topmost sweetness of love is there, but when he's in the company of the gopis, so his beauty, his sweetness, his love is increasing more and more. And so that is mentioned in the various scriptures also. Verses are there. And then after hearing these wonderful verses from Rai Ramananda, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much satisfied. And he's saying, this is certainly the limit of perfection. So he's completely satisfied and is understanding Sadhyavadi, this is the highest limit of perfection. The loving sentiments of the gopis. But please be merciful and speak something more if there is something more to say. And then Rai Ramananda Roy said that until this day I did not know anyone within this material world who could inquire beyond this perfectional stage of devotional service. So to understand about this love of the gopis, is only possible for the devotees of the Lord. Other persons they cannot understand, but even amongst the devotees, those who can understand the loving sentiments of Krishna and the gopis, so that is only the prerogative of those who are actually having that mood. It is also explained even the gopas and Maria Yashoda, Nanda Baba, they cannot understand the loving sentiments of the gopis. It is not possible for them to understand. They don't know the loving exchange between Radharani and Krishna and the other gopis. That only only the gopis they can understand. Only the sadhakas who are eligible for that relationship they can understand. Others they cannot understand. Of course, the sadhakas in this world they have knowledge, and to some extent they may understand the relationship of Krishna and the gopi, but not to the fullest extent. Even some of the gopas they know also, like Krishna's best friends are there. Vasudam, Sridam, Sudam, Kinkini, the Krishna's best friends. So they are the same age as Krishna. And they also know about the relationship of Krishna with the gopis, but they are not concerned about that. They don't want to know everything. And they're not asking Krishna, they're not talking about the gopis with Krishna. But they know to some extent, but not fully. And they don't want to know. So sometimes only people they think that Madhu Mangal is the best friend of Krishna. But Madhu Mangal is a good friend of Krishna, but he's not a gop. He's a brahmana.
No, it's not God.
He's not a gop. Actually, he's the son of Sandipani Muni. So he's a brahmana. And he's saying also, I'm a brahmana. He's showing his Brahman thread. Krishna doesn't have a Brahman thread, only when he goes to Mathura. But in Braj he doesn't have. But Madhu Mangal, because he's in Braj and he's with Krishna and the Gopas, he's almost like a Gopa also. But he's actually Brahmana. Okay, 7 o'clock. So, and he's known as a joker. Madhu Mangal is a joker. Yeah, Dutta is a joker. He likes to joke, and of course Krishna is the biggest joker. And so he's always having fun, and even the gopis also. So they're friends, but because he's a brahmana, so the friendship is not as close as the other friends who are also gopas, who are of the same age as Krishna.
Who are the closest?
Vasudam, Sridam, Sudam and Kinkini. Yeah, 4. There are a few more, but these are most prominent. And they're very close. And
Sridham is the brother of...
yes, he's a brother, yes. And then there are some gopas who are younger, a little younger, 1.5 years younger than Krishna. One of them is Arjun, Ujjwal, Gandharva, and what is it? Other names I forgot. So they're a little younger and they know about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, and they will also help. They are sending, when Krishna wants to send a message to Radharani, sometimes he will send Subal, one a very dear friend also, but he's younger and he's ready to serve Krishna. So then he's sending him to Radharani. And so one time also Subal was seeing that Krishna is a little unhappy due to feeling separation from Radharani. And Subala is saying, don't worry, I will help you. I will bring Radharani here. So then Subal Vesh is there. That is in Braj, it is famous. And even in our temple or in Braj, in the different temple, they have Krishna and Radharani in Subal Vesh. So Subal went then to Javat, and he took a calf with him, and when he's there in Javat, he let the calf loose, and then was going there into Goshala, and he said, telling Jatila and Kutila that, oh my calf came here. I'm just getting my calf. Yeah, okay, no problem. And he's going quickly to Radharani's chamber and telling Radharani, come quickly. Krishna is feeling so much separation. But Radharani is saying, how I can go? Jatila and Kutila are there. They will not let me go. But then Subala is saying, you do one thing, you take my dress, my Gopavesh, and then somehow I will escape. And, and then Radharani's fair complexion and Subal also. And then he was saying, you just go to the Goshala and you try to speak like I'm speaking. And so she has Subal's dhoti and chadar, and she put the turban also like Subal, and so put the hair up and has a turban, and then she's taking the small calf and carrying and saying, okay, I found my calf, I'm going. And then she's going to meet Krishna. And then Subal, another way he has come back. It was just, and he didn't have his dhoti, but he just put on some gamsha and went back. And Krishna still feeling separation, and Subal is saying, don't worry, Radharani is just now coming. And then she's coming in Subal Vesh. So they're there, even sometimes the Gopas are there. in Radha Kund, where Radha Krishna meet every day in noontime. And they're doing some seva there also. So they know also, and they will do some seva also. So they are also knowledgeable in this regard, and they may help. But then the ordinary Gopas, they don't know anything what's happening. And Maria Yashodananda Baba. So, but in this world, of course, the sadhakas, they may know something, but not completely. Only those who are in this Madhurya Bhav, so like our acharyas who are actually gopis, they know about the wonderful loving exchange and then can give that to others also who are qualified. So then Ramananda is saying that among all the gopis, the loving affairs of the gopis, the many gopis are there, serving Krishna in loving exchange with Krishna. The love of Srimati Radharani for Sri Krishna is the topmost. Indeed, the glories of Srimati Radharani are highly estimated in all revealed scriptures. There's one verse also explaining that the millions of gopis, and amongst them two are foremost, Radharani and Chandravali, and of the two, Radharani is the foremost. And many descriptions are there in the different Puranas also. And not only Radharani and Chandravali are mentioned, but other gopis are there, like Lalita, Vishaka, and then also some of the Ashtasakis, and sometimes also some of the gopis of Chandravali also mentioned, like Padma, Bhadra, and those who are friendly towards Radharani, like Shyama, so they are mentioned. But of all of them, Srimati Radharani is the foremost. And then he quotes one famous verse, Yatha Radha Priya Vishnus Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha Sarva Gopisho Saivakya Vishnu Vallabha. So just as Radharani is most dear to Vishnu or Krishna, so similarly her Kund, Radha Kund, is also most dear to Krishna. And amongst all the gopis, Sarva Gopisha Saivaka, so Srimati Radharani, Atyanta Vallabha, is the most beloved, the most dear to Krishna. And there's a famous verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam also, after the Ras Leela, so Radharani is leaving the Rasa Leela, the Krishna doesn't find pleasure there, full pleasure, even though millions of gopis are there. And he also leaves the Rasa Leela. and then is coming to where Radharani is there, and then together they walk for some time, and then all the gopis are looking for Radha and Krishna. Of course, um, the gopis, the Radharani's friends, they're looking for Radharani. Not only Krishna, but the Vishpaksha gopis are looking for Krishna. And then, so at one point, Radharani, she's saying, "Oh Krishna, I'm tired. Please you pick me up." And actually, the acharyas have also explained that actually she also wanted her gopis to be with her also. So therefore, she told Krishna, "I'm tired." And it is also mentioned she was transcendently proud. So transcendental pride is there sometimes. "Oh, I'm Krishna's beloved." And so she was feeling, "I'm most fortunate." And so transcendental pride is all right. So all the emotions we can see in this world are actually emanations from the transcendental emotions, but they are perverted due to the modes of material nature. So she was a little proud that, "Oh, I'm the beloved of Krishna, I'm most fortunate." And but actually she wanted also the gopis to be with her friends. Then Krishna, so she was a little bit on Krishna's back, but then Krishna put her down and then it just disappeared. So she was just about to go on Krishna's shoulder, but then he disappeared. And so the gopis saw the famous verse is mentioned, Annayarita Anonam Bhagwan Haririshvara Yanna Vihaya Govinda Priyan Aniyadraha. So the gopis, they saw and they also said that, so this one gopi, referring to Radharani, she's actually most fortunate. And so she's able to give satisfaction to Krishna, so much so that Krishna is leaving all of us behind. So they saw also on the ground Krishna's footprints were there, and they saw Radharani's footprints also. At one point, they would only see Krishna's footprints, and then they understood also that Krishna was actually carrying Srimati Radharani for a little while. So, because she was expressing to be a little tired. But then, of course, so many emotions are there of the different gopis that is also explained. So the gopis in Radharani's group, they were very happy. Oh, that Radharani is with Krishna. But the Vipaksha gopis, Chandravali, they were a little jealous of Srimati Radharani. And so they were a little unhappy that they are not with Krishna, and these other gopis they are with Krishna. So different gopis had different emotions at that time. But then when Krishna left Radharani also, and Radharani was there feeling separation and crying, then all the gopis came. And they all felt compassion for Radharani also. And then they were all together looking for Krishna. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was hearing from Rai Ramananda, he was very pleased. And he was saying, "Please speak on." And I'm feeling so much pleasure from what you're saying. And then he's saying that it is like a river of nectar is emanating from your mouth. So then Rai Ramananda is continuing also and explaining they're doing the rasa dance, Sri Krishna did not exchange loving affairs with Srimati Radharani due to the presence of other gopis. So an exchange is there during the Ras Leela with Radharani and the other gopis, but because so many gopis are there, so the exchange with Radharani is not complete. So because of the dependence of the others, the intensity of love between Radha and Krishna was not manifest. Therefore, he stole her away, or therefore they left the rasa dance. So actually by reading the Bhagavatam and the verses of the Bhagavatam, so all these confidential things we cannot find, we cannot see. So therefore Mahaprabhu then appeared, and then so these very subtle things of the Srimad Bhagavatam, of the 10th canto of the loving exchange, especially between Krishna and the gopis are revealed for the benefit of the practicing devotees.
This sloka is like this.
The slok is 102. So Lord Krishna rejected the company of the other gopis for Srimati Radharani. So we can understand that Lord Sri Krishna has intense affection for her, for Srimati Radharani. And Rai Ramananda is continuing, explaining. So the glories of the love of Srimati Radharani, and there's no comparison to her love. So therefore, Rai Ramananda is telling Mahaprabhu, let me say something more about the glories of Srimati Radharani's loving affairs. They are beyond compare within the three worlds. So then again explaining about the Rasa Leela, that Srimati Radharani was also feeling, that is also explained in the scriptures. During the Rasa Leela so Radharani was there and her gopis, but then the Vipaksha gopis were there, the rival gopis. And even it is explained, some gopis, they had joined the Rasa Leela. Some new gopis were there. Just like Prabhupada in one place is mentioning that the goal of life is to dance with Krishna. So when we become perfect, we may be able to dance with Krishna during the Rasa Leela. So some gopis, they had attained perfection. So that is actually the process. When we realize our relationship with Krishna, we go where Krishna performs his pastimes in one universe. And then we can enter the pastimes. So some gopis were there, new gopis who attained perfection. And they were the first time they were able to dance with Krishna. So because there were so many gopis there, those from the rival party, Chandravali, and then the new gopis were there. So not so experienced. So therefore Radharani was not feeling the fullest pleasure. And therefore also she wanted to leave. And then of course Krishna also left. So that is mentioned also. There is one famous verse also in this regard, actually from Geet Govind by Jaidev Goswami. So famous book which Mahaprabhu was also relishing in Jagannath Puri, in the association of Sarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. So that is specifically about the relationship of Krishna with Srimati Radharani. So there is quoting two verses. From there, Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, took Srimati Radharani within his heart, for he desired to dance with her. Thus he left the arena of the rasa dance and the company of all the other beautiful damsels of Braj. And actually after Krishna and Radharani had left and they were all searching for them and then they were searching for Krishna, then after later on, then again there was a rasa dance. Krishna performed rasa dance, but only with the Radharani, with Srimati Radharani and her gopis. And that is a Govardhan also. A Chandra Sarovar is there. So then Krishna was dancing there with Radharani and her gopis. So another verse is also mentioned here that Krishna was, when Radharani left the rasa dance, Krishna was lamenting. And so in other words here it is just to show that there's a wonderful loving exchange between Krishna and Radharani and the gopis. And Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Tattva Vichar is there, and he knows everything, and is perfect and complete. That is always there. Krishna is Sarvagya, he knows everything. But in Braj, the pastimes are there also, Lili Vichar, the consideration of the pastimes. At that time, Krishna becomes Mugdha also, he becomes bewildered many times in the pastime. Even with not only with the gopis, but even with Mother Yashoda and his friends. Like when Krishna, so he was taking the milk, the breast milk of his mother, and then the milk was boiling over, and she put Krishna down. Krishna becomes angry, transcendently angry. And he goes to another room and breaks the pots and takes some milk and butter and distributes to his friends and monkeys. Maria Yashoda comes back and she sees Krishna, she's taking a stick and running after Krishna to chastise him, and he's running away. And then it is mentioned he's crying. Although fear personified is afraid of Krishna, but Krishna is afraid of Maria Yashoda and Maria Yashoda's stick. He's seeing the stick in Maria Yashoda's hand, and so he's becoming afraid of the stick. So that is so at that point he's mugdha, he's bewildered by the internal potency. And then Radharani, Yashoda is catching Krishna, and the gopis are saying, the elderly gopis, Krishna is afraid because you have the stick. And she's throwing away the stick. And she's trying to bind Krishna, taking some rope, but the rope is short, 2 fingers. Up to this point, Krishna is mugdha, he's bewildered, and he's crying. And he's not just playing, but he's really crying. He's not knowing that he's the Supreme Lord. But then by his Lila Shakti, again Krishna knows, I am the Supreme Lord. He's Sarvagya, he knows everything. Oh, she wants to bind me, okay, let her try to bind me. And she's trying to bind Krishna and she cannot. Because he's Param Brahma, is the Supreme Lord, he's Vibhu, he's unlimited. And the rope is short by 2 fingers. She's taking more ropes, but she cannot bind Krishna. Still 2 fingers short, taking more, still she cannot bind. So Krishna is Sarvagya, but he becomes Mugdha also. And finally he's seeing that the Radharani is, the Yashoda is trying so hard, so much so that she's perspiring. And tears are almost coming, just 1 or 2 tears are coming from the eyes. And Krishna is saying, okay, now she can bind me. And she can bind Krishna. Also in the Agarsur Lila, when the demon Agarsur came, his serpent, in the form of a big serpent, Aga Asur, and the mouth is open and the gopas, they don't know what's going on and that this is a demon. They go inside and Krishna is there and he's watching. and he's thinking, he's bewildered, thinking, what shall I do now? What shall I do now? How I can save my friends? He doesn't know exactly what to do. But then he's Bhagavan, and he knows what to do. He goes inside the mouth, and then he's closing his mouth, and he becomes hot, like anything, like a piece of iron. And then he's expanding himself, and Agasur is suffocating, and he's not able to breathe, and he's giving up his body. So he's moved and he's Sarvadya also, in the pastimes of Braj. So Krishna is equal to everyone, is reciprocating with all the devotees, but because of Radharani's most exalted form of love, so he's obliged to reciprocate also mostly with her. And then he's also explaining about the different loving exchange, or the different sentiments which are there in the loving exchange. So that is also mentioned in the Upadeshamrita. So 33 different emotions are there, known as Sanchari Bhav, they are coming and going. So transcendental happiness, transcendental sadness, transcendental anger is there. So, and this is all there to augment the loving exchange between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So sometimes, Radharani becomes angry at Krishna, and even different types of anger are there. So that is also explained here. So Rai Ramananda is giving some explanation of the loving sentiments of Srimati Radharani. Also mentioning also there's anger with cause and anger without cause. And sometimes uh, Krishna, so he sent a message to Radharani, we will meet at a certain place at night in the Nikunja. So you wait there, I will come.